what we saw today was something completely different. A whole number of people contributing. One of my favorite parts of today, Harsha, was when they did their impromptu lap of honor. It was all together as one. Rishabh Pant didn't charge off the field as the hero with his bat raised in the air into the arms of the captain Ajinkya Rahane, who was the coolest and calmest character of them all when they won the test match, by the way. They walked around together, whether you were wearing a blue outfit as a member of the support staff, the doctors, the physios who had so much work to do throughout, all the support staff, the rest of the extra players who were there wearing their orange high-vis vests, the players who were injured like Jasprit Bumrah, who couldn't have been happier for his colleagues. They were there together as one, lapping the Gabba, and it wasn't just about Rishabh Pant, it wasn't just about Shubman Gill, it was about the collective, and that's leadership. And that collective overcame over 1,000 Australian test wickets coming into this match from that big four, and it was the classic case of a champion team beating perhaps a team with a number of champions in it.
Two things stood out for me, two visuals stood out for me. One was when Siraj went back after taking 5 wickets. I might have mentioned this already, but it's worthy of mentioning again. Siraj goes back after taking 5 wickets. Everyone is shaking hands. Yes, I took 5 wickets, got the ball. He's happy. It's one of the great stories of our times, Mohammad Siraj. And there's Jasprit Bumrah waiting for him. And that's a hug like a brother gives another. So that was one thing that stood out for me. The other, Washington Sundar is coming back after he's out. First person on the edge of the boundary line is Ravichandran Ashwin. And I thought, here are two senior players who are sort of leaders by dint of performance, not by dint of designation. Leaders by dint of performance within the side, but they're standing by the boundary rope waiting for these young kids who haven't played a decimal, close to a fraction of the runs or test matches that they've played. Bumrah, yes, but with Ashwin, that's valid. And I thought that told me a story. I'm not playing, but I'm in there. It reminded me of Anil Kumble and Harbhajan Singh in 2001. Kumble was every day at the camp, his arm in a sling, because he'd had a shoulder surgery, but working with the side. It showed me that kind of spirit. But Adam, eventually spirit is fine. Spirit elevates you. Spirit makes you a wonderful person. But you've just got to have the ability. And the ability that we saw today. I mean, Pant and Gill are intoxicating players. I mean, they've just been gifted that way. What about Shardul Thakur? Palghar is 70 kilometers from Mumbai. He's going up and down by train. He's a journeyman cricketer. He's playing in the Ranji Trophy. He says he had to go and do the hard grind after his first test match, ended in 11 deliveries. He gives you 7 wickets. Why? Because he just keeps running in. Natarajan. I mean, this team has a book to be written about it. Just where they came from and how they congregated. It could be a thriller. Just how it was just a perfect storm. They all met there. Natarajan and Washington Sundar are net bowlers. Washington Sundar's father tells him, you'll play a test match. And he says, yes, I'm a net bowler. I'll play a test match. And he did. And he did. Sure as ever, he did. So, so many stories. But these are simple, hard-working people who went out and did great things.
And I'm sure that book will end up being written by our colleague from Cricbuzz, Bharat Sundaresan, who I'm sure will have a good in no time at all. He did indeed. In terms of the tribute of that toughness and spirit that you're referring to there, accompanying the skill, Justin Langer made the point that if you've got 1.4 billion cricketers to choose from, or 1.4 billion people, but so many hundreds of millions of cricketers, you're probably going to come out pretty tough if you make it to the final 11. And that toughness, that tough underbelly we saw from India throughout the series, to be blunt, we didn't always see that from touring Indian teams to Australia. It was often the very opposite of that. And this, I know it was Rahane's team this week, but this is the Kohli era, who, and again, we've referred to the Indian Premier League already, but it's that never say die thing. Even the way that Washington Sundar fell, he falls reverse sweeping with 15 or so to get. Sure, it looks profligate at the time, but it speaks to a mindset. The fact that Rishabh Pant, with about 10 runs to get, is on his hands and knees trying to lap over his shoulder when the job's almost done. I mean, this is what Justin Langer is referring to. It's strong-willed individuals who make this team to complement that immense skill.
They don't think like our generation did. They don't think like us. When I was growing up watching cricket, let's say Rahul Dravid was a different generation. Rahul Dravid, VVS, Lakshman, Tendulkar, Ganguly, that generation. Reverse sweeping with 10 to get. You're a young kid playing your first test. You're a net bowler. You've got into the side. First of all, everyone's got to stand to attention. You've got to be a good boy. You've got to play straight. He's reverse sweeping with 10 to get. What does that tell you? Is he uncaring? No, he wants to win just as much, but he just thinks it can be done. Rishabh Pant, those shots that he played, because he just thinks it can be done. It doesn't cross their mind that it cannot be done. And if it can't be done, it can't be done. But I think it can be done. And that is a huge shift in mindset. And that is why for the past 5 years, 7 years, I've been saying our generation should create the environment and just get away. I'm thinking of Virat Kohli as well. There's Virat Kohli's tweet as well. What is he thinking about? It's still his side in a way, by the way. Ajinkya Rahane didn't just pick up 11 players out of clay and mold them into a side. These were the players, some of them had also played with Virat Kohli. So don't forget that Virat Kohli has a role to play in this. But I'm thinking of Virat Kohli, Ajinkya Rahane. I mean, how do you pick 11 now? India's got to pick a test team. How do you pick 11? How do you look in the eye and say, I'm not going to pick you? How do you look Washington Sundar in the eye? How do you look Shardul Thakur in the eye and say, you know what, Shami's coming back?